What a spectacular moment in history. We laugh about how stupid these people are, okay? The thing is, it doesn't matter. It literally does not matter, okay? You can actively lie, deliberately lie, and it does not matter as long as it suits your ideological purpose. You can just lie and lie and lie, and not a single person will go, "Hey, I keep getting duped by this person." USA was paying for 8 million in subs to Politico. How is that not funding? Yeah, it's what is it? It's like Politico's news wire service. It's like being having a Bloomberg terminal, chatter. Like they have different services that they offer, like real-time, straightforward politics. And it's not even that. It wasn't USAID, I don't think, right? That's grooming. The funniest part is these, you know, here's what I think. I don't think the federal government has to go through USAID to offer funding to Politico. Okay? That's not how manufacturing consent works. You don't actually buy those favors. You actually get people into those top positions by offering access to people that report favorably on your actions. Okay? US aid was 44K, 8 mil for the entirety of the government. Minute by minute updates by a subscription package for like 10K per. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, here. Dropsite also offered this some coverage as well. If we're going to talk about like USAID funding and all the misinformation swirling around.
Every day we are reaching previously unseen levels of duplicity and stupidity, particularly on this website owned by Elon Musk. Let's take this one for a second. So now the MAGA populists think that they have uncovered a new scandal because they say that Politico is actually funded by USAID to the tune of $8.1 million. Now, if you look closer at the numbers that they've pulled out of this database, in fact, that $8.1 million, that's across the government. That's to lots of different subscriptions. It doesn't even have anything to do with USAID and Politico. But if you dig even deeper, what they found is that Politico, over several years, has gotten $44,000 from USAID for subscriptions. Now, Politico runs a product called Politico Pro, which can cost as much as $10,000 a year. Politico is not the only one that does.
Yeah, there's a lot of, they got Huberman. Oh my God, I'm shocked that another one of these guys that hawks product was stupid enough to be duped by the likes of Ian Miles Chong. Okay, wow. I thought that guy was a brilliant neurosurgeon. What happened? Or a neuroscientist, PhD or whatever. Bro, I swear to God, when you got podcast brain, when you have podcast brain, it just like, you're bricked. You're bricked, no matter what, okay? There's just something to podcast brain. No matter how intelligent you might have been at some point, when you get into like the right-wing adjacent podcast game, something in your brain just stops working. Something in your brain just stops functioning.
As a product like this, Bloomberg.
I'm confused though. Why is Politico Pro $10,000 per year? It's like a Bloomberg terminal. Do you know what a Bloomberg terminal is? Like, especially corporate accounts for things like that are even more expensive than individuals. But this is like the type of service that offers like real-time, immediate news. It's like news stations use it, okay? It's a B2B service. A Bloomberg terminal is giving you real-time data on the stock market. They are incredibly expensive. Bloomberg terminals are used for trading. Politico Pro is a service similar to that, okay? It's a computer software system provided by the financial data vendor Bloomberg LP that enables professionals in the financial service sector and other industries to access Bloomberg professional services through which users can monitor and analyze real-time financial market data and place trades on the electronic trading platform. Bloomberg Pro is a newswire service, Politico Pro is a newswire service that is similar to a Bloomberg terminal. Still doesn't explain why USAID funded it. They didn't fund it. They purchased it for the people that work at USAID. Because if you work at USAID, you need access. It's akin to working at one of the aspects of the... It's akin to having Bloomberg terminals at the SEC. Okay, it's akin to the SEC purchasing Bloomberg terminals. Do you understand? Yeah, it's like saying they funded Microsoft because they bought Excel. They're buying a product. They're buying a service. Like there is plenty of silly shit that USAID and the federal government, I'm sure, has spent money on, especially because one of the worst aspects of the private-public partnership is the unimaginably expensive ways in which the federal government basically subsidizes companies that lobby for these contracts. So normally, if you were to purchase, I don't know, K cups, right, at the market, or if you were even a business that had a subscription to the Nespresso K cups or Keurig cups or whatever, the price varies. If you're purchasing it as a singular consumer at the market, at the grocery store, it's infinitely cheaper than oftentimes like a business subscription that you might have, because B2B services are more expensive because businesses can pay for it, so they're farming more money. The government is on steroids when it comes to that. So there's a lot of inefficiencies in that regard. And the government is the worst one because they have a lot of money, they have a lot of wealth, and companies absolutely know that and therefore charge incredibly high prices because they know the government's going to pay for it. And they even lobby to make sure, or they network to make sure that they continue getting those contracts. Having said that, however, in terms of like the Bloomberg Pro structure, not Bloomberg, sorry, the political pro structure, like that makes sense. That makes sense because, this is a newswire service that government employees are utilizing.
Some others do. I think this is a pretty corrupt way to run journalism because the people that can pay that aren't mostly government. That's a tiny drop in the bucket.
Bro, what's happening right now? Asmongold is spreading propaganda about MLK, calling him a disgusting commie. MLK was a commie. Wouldn't say he was disgusting, but he certainly was a commie. Don't know why Asmongold would have an issue with that, though. He's like, just found out about this MLK guy. Turns out it's more than... Turns out he wasn't saying, I have a dream where, black people and white people can get along. He was saying a lot more than that.
Mostly corporations.
Yeah, he wasn't a commie. He was a democratic socialist, but whatever. It's a commie is a catch-all terminology. I don't care. This is the thing that I try to respond to people with whenever they're like, Hasan, are you a communist? People are saying you're a communist. And you're like, why don't you care to make this distinction? Like, it's because I don't care. I don't care. I don't think that it's... people say Nancy Pelosi is a communist, okay? Everyone is a communist as long as they are like a little bit center-left on certain issues in the eyes of the broader American society. I'm pretty sure that commenter was wrong, and Asmon read a chatter saying that. Be careful. Yeah, I don't think Asmongold will be anti-MLK, at least not yet. That's like Charlie Kirk level. All right, let's continue with this. I'm having a hard time finishing
lobbyists, weapons makers, pharmaceutical companies, the kinds of people that you don't really want to be.
Li Fong actually had a really good take on this, by the way. I can't believe I keep pausing this video as soon as I start it. But what's really interesting about the way that people yell, hold on, about this sort of thing, about like all of this money, where is it going, right? Like, oh, they're spending the money so unwisely, blah, blah, blah. Do you know how much graft occurs in the private sector? This isn't a defense of the public sector at all, okay? This is not a defense of the public sector and the gross misuse of funds or whatever. But as Felix also pointed out, using this as a jump-off point, the Wall Street Journal documented over $50 billion in Medicare Advantage fraud. Insurers systematically diagnosing fake diseases in patients so they can overbill the government. That is 1,000,000 times worse than all the silly sounding grants that go viral here, okay? There is such an unbelievable amount of graft, gouging, collusion, and outright fraud like this in the American healthcare system, and none of it has any salience in our politics. There are just far too many people that are involved, and they're too integral to both parties. One of the most discouraging signs of this was seeing Madoff-level fraudsters like Rick Scott become a prolific national figure. He doesn't even have anything else going for him. He looks like the magician from that criminally boring Game of Thrones season 2 Dany storyline. Like, Rick Scott, former governor of the state of Florida, and also is he congressperson from the state of Florida now, and also a formative figure in the Republican Party, literally is a award-winning, record-breaking, prolific fraudster, okay? He defrauded the federal government funds for Medicare, and I think, or was it Medicare or Medicaid, to the tune of billions of dollars. And there were no repercussions, no penalties for it whatsoever. Okay? Like, that is the real shit. That's what I mean when I say there is a public-private partnership here that the American corporations use and abuse, and the government absolutely allows it to happen, and it doesn't matter at all. But hey, keep paying attention to, I don't know, some National Institute of Health grant that went to a medical research that you don't understand and you think is silly and stupid, and therefore you should have a say in having those grants removed. Okay?
Be the ones that are funding journalism, because then the journalism becomes captured by that money. That is not the scandal they think they found. They think they discovered that USAID is the one funding Politico. That's wrong. But the funniest thing is, wait until they find out who funds Elon Musk. Elon Musk's main funder is the federal government.
Yeah, for everything. Every single industry that Elon Musk is involved in, okay? Every single industry that Elon Musk is involved in is funded and subsidized by the federal government. Tesla was kept afloat for years with the credit, the green credit swap scheme that the government created. It was subsidized by a lot of the renewable energy subsidies that existed for electric vehicles. SpaceX would not exist without NASA or additional government funding. It's another instance of the private-public partnership that exists. Elon Musk has been bailed out a million times over. Okay, as far as Starlink, that's another aspect of U.S. aid. Okay. U.S. aid directly funds Starlink. The Defense Department directly funds Starlink. How the does Starlink reach the hands of Ukrainians? That's it. And it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating that people simply don't want to recognize that at all. So that's one of the other annoying parts about this, is that like Elon is supposedly this butcher that is like making the government more efficient. Meanwhile, he's directly getting funded by the federal government and also being investigated by the federal government at the same time.
So if being funded by the federal government makes Politico corrupt when they're not actually funded by the federal government, what do they think of Elon Musk being funded by the federal government? And whatever he's getting now from the feds, he's going to be getting many times more than that over the coming years because of suckers like this guy.
Jesus Christ, I got loud. Yeah. The U.S. government gave the New York Times tens of millions of dollars over just the past 5 years, despite paying relatively little money to the New York Times. In the years preceding 2021, for instance, in August 2024, the U.S. government awarded $4.1 million to the New York Times. The bulk of these funds came from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, followed by the National Science Foundation. The query the original poster ran is not limited to the recipient being the New York Times, nor is it limited to the past 5 years. It's actually New York. He key searched New York. Okay? And then claimed it was the New York Times. What a spectacular moment in history. We laugh about how stupid these people are. Okay? You fell for an internet hoax and now you're angry over it. Explain why Chelsea Clinton received $83 million from U.S. aid. Chelsea Clinton did not receive any money from U.S. aid. The thing is, it doesn't matter. It literally does not matter. Okay? You can actively lie, deliberately lie, and it does not matter as long as it suits your ideological purpose. You can just lie and lie and lie, and not a single person will go, hey, I keep getting duped by this person, because nobody cares about the truth. And if nobody cares about the truth, nobody cares when they're getting duped. As long as it serves their purpose, as long as it serves their ideological purpose of humiliating their interlocutors, their ideological opponents, owning the libs, if you will. Okay? That's it. That's where we're at now. That is where we are at now. Nothing else. Any chance the CIA will do this, do its first good deed ever by exposing Musk for the fraud he is in retaliation? I don't think so, but we'll see. Probably not. I'm not holding my breath on that one. Yeah, there was a tweet that was claiming that AOC is worth $30 million. It's not the case. at all. And as a public servant, her, salary and her earnings are out there for people to figure out on their own if they choose to do so. And no, they don't have that. She doesn't have smoke like that. Okay? She doesn't have motion like that. Y'all are ridiculous. Because of the US funding freeze, the entire global ecosystem of China nonprofits is facing an extinction event. I'm not exaggerating for clicks. This is literally what's happening. In many cases, these orgs provide our last window into what is actually happening in China. They do the painstaking, risky work of tracking Chinese censorship, tallying local protests, uncovering rights violations, and documenting the Uyghur genocide. The research and other work done by these nonprofits is invaluable. It largely isn't replicated by think tanks, universities, private firms, or journalists. If it disappears, nothing will replace it, and Beijing's work to crush it will be complete. The U.S. spending freeze has revealed how dependent these organizations are on a single government for their survival, and by extension, how fragile our sources of information of China really are. She doesn't take money from lobbyists, so she ain't got too much since she does it legit, not a piece of shit like the rest of them. Amen, brother. Yeah. You're totally making things up. I'm not even worth $1 million, nor even $500K. I don't even own a house. I'm one of the lowest net worth members of Congress, trade no stock, and take no outside income. My filings are public. I loathe corruption, and your lying is disgusting. It doesn't matter, though. Okay? Look at this. Breaking. Trump called for an investigation to find out who the government has been getting kickbacks from USAID. For instance, AOC has been in Congress for 6 years. She makes $174,000 a year. She's worth $30 million. The only way that happens is kickbacks. Wife and mom, politically conservative, MAGA Trump 2024, now more than ever, hashtag America First, hashtag MAGA. Just a lie. 113,000 likes. 16 million views on this. You could just make up anything about anyone nowadays, and people just be like, all right, I believe it. Does this suit my agenda? Does this make me feel like I have a sense of community if I go along with it? Is this destroying my ideological opponents that I have been positioned and primed into hating? Then I'm on board. I don't care. No one is going to look into it. Okay? As a matter of fact, it's bad to look into it. Do not look into it. That's the attitude that people have here. Okay? That is the process now. That is the modus operandi. It's gotten so much worse because of Twitter. I cannot state this enough. It is so much worse. These things used to be relegated to email chains that your grandparents were sending to one another. And now it's everywhere. It's completely escaped containment. The U.S. must immediately grant emergency waivers to China-focused nonprofits. The U.S. is not able to do this. Governments around the world that value democracy, human rights, and truth must step in and find a way to restore funding to these organizations. I mean, I suspect that, is this one of the think tanks that gets U.S. aid grants? Like, she's literally just tweeting because she's tweeting about this because, like, she's getting her funding cut. Now, another example of this can also be seen. Another example of this can also be seen in the way people treat even like online drama and shit too, like the minutia. Like, people regularly will be like, "Your dad is a billionaire. Your dad is a billionaire," about me, and then they'll point to like some AI made article. He's not. I take care of my family, including my dad, and I'm very proud to do so. But people will just believe it and they'll go along with it. Because why? Well, because fuck Hasan. That's why. So it's from every aspect, all the way from the most inconsequential shit like streamer drama, okay, all the way up to massively consequential and important issues. They scream fake news media, so they're more likely to buy into those garbage AI sites peddling garbage as independent journalists. Yeah. Pretty sure you need a billionaire dad to afford a house in West LA. No, I am the person who makes the money. What are you talking about? And people would just unironically go along with a lie, then investigate the truth because the lie makes you feel good. That's it. A key part of China's agenda is to persuade its own citizens and the world falsely and through deception and coercion that democratic systems are not better. Beijing claims this system is the best way to guarantee economic prosperity and stability. It is difficult and time-consuming to do the work that provides Beijing is lying. Except the reality of a centrally controlled government being more efficient is not actually done through propaganda. It's done through just the reality. Okay? Their development projects are better than ours. Okay? the Western liberal capitalist democracies have been failing for the past couple of decades now. They've been on a downtrend, whereas China in that process has greatly improved both their economy and the material conditions for as many Chinese citizens as possible. Okay? And they've done this because there is centralized control. That's it. You can't just like propagandize that into existence by saying, oh, yeah, we're actually doing great. It's just something that you experience. It's something that you see with your own two eyes. I guess the point that they're trying to make is that what is happening is the American government can no longer propagandize against that to make Americans think like, no, Chinese people are eating dogs and rats and they're living in mud huts, I promise. The best way to combat that, and I do think that America should combat that, is by also doing development projects on our own. That's it. It's that simple. It's odd that people do not recognize that. You know? Anyway, people get so mad when you speak positively of China. I want our government to do similar development projects. That's all I want, okay? I want our government to actually actively compete with China. Just like in the Cold War when we competed with the USSR for the space race, I just wish that the American government, if they were going to do a Cold War again, which we are doing already, I just wish that we would compete with China, not by taking on more restrictive and more censorious approaches that exist in China and competing with them on that front, on the surveillance state front. Instead, compete with them on, bullet trains, robust infrastructure projects. It's very frustrating. We take none of the good and all the bad. Without the work that China nonprofits do, it would be much harder to show that China's governance model is deeply flawed if we can no longer prove that. Yeah, I mean, she's basically saying, like, we can't shit on China effectively if USA doesn't fund a lot of our NGOs and whatnot. Do you believe that the shift to the extremely right-wing politics and economics could open the door to swing in the opposite direction? Democrats seem to be trying to get closer to center, which may kill an opportunity for more social safety nets and future admins. Yeah, I don't think that the Democratic Party is going to direct us out of this problem. I don't think that they're going to guide us or lead us out of this problem, if I'm being super real with you. Unfortunately. Yeah, they want to do stuff like this. Why don't you ever debate with Asmongold? He thinks all immigrants should get kicked out, even the good, hardworking immigrants. Hashtag DACA. I would be down to do that. I have no issues. I have debated Asmongold in the past, and of course, I will. I'd be down to debate him in the future. If he wants to do that, he can hit me up. Anyway, I think it's because of how fast China grew that America couldn't catch up. Law needed excuses after that. My God, now that you think USAID was sending money to Jeffrey Epstein, not realizing that it's a different Jeffrey Epstein, we're honestly in parody mode. Yeah, this is insane, dude. The Kaiser Foundation Health Plan Incorporated gave $265,000 to Jeffrey Epstein, who was a director at Kaiser Permanente. Jeffrey Epstein, unfortunately, is a very common name, okay? It's an unfortunate one, but it's a common one. What are we doing? What do you think is more likely? That they actually were actively giving money to this guy? Or do they think that it was actually, Jeffrey Epstein who passed away and they're still giving him money, not realizing that it's a totally separate person? Yeah, this is literally an SNL skit. Harvey Epstein, who was also a real guy. Or was the guy's name also Jeffrey Epstein? Or it was Harvey Epstein, right? Harvey Epstein for city council. There it is. Doge telling NOA to reduce the staff by 50% and funding the agency to 30%. They weren't auditing the weather career field. They're slashing it. They're likely going to go after NWS next. Also, where is it? There was another thing. They're trying to slash the CDC, which is also ridiculous. It's just terrifying stuff, okay? These are all of the... It's ironic because, like, these are the things that are good about the federal government. These are the good things. These are the good things about the federal government. And it's very frustrating that they're taking away all of the things that make this country run, okay? Oh. Did you even unpack yet, bruh? No. Yeah, accurate weather forecasting could be said to benefit the economy by at least billions, not trillions. Yeah, and also, accurate weather forecasting that you see and consume as a regular citizen is not is only the tip of the iceberg, okay? That the NOAA offers. Like, this is massively consequential, okay? Your weather app on your phone would not work if it wasn't for the weather service that the government offers, the government provides. Every part of commerce relies on this. Okay?